أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد صلاة تخرجنا بها من أوحال الوهم وتوضحنا ما أشكل حتى يفهم إنك تعلم ولا نعلم وأنت علام الغيوب. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. So we're on the Hadith 21. I think I've made a mistake in the actual video online. It's 22. But 21, and we're speaking in the chapter of Tawbah, and we're speaking about the chapter of repentance, and we're speaking about Ka'b ibn Malik radiallahu anhu, and the issue of when they stayed behind, when they were called to attend the Battle of Tabuk. And we got to where the Prophet ﷺ returns now from Tabuk. So he says, قال كعب. Ka'b said, فلما بلغني أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قد توجه قافلا من تبوك حضرني بثي وطفقت أتذكر الكذب. So when it reached me, when it was reported to me that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was now coming back from Tabuk, then my bath basically came to me. It's interesting, this word bath, because obviously Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam, what does he say in Surah Yusuf? إنما أشكو بثي وحزني إلى الله, Surah Yusuf. So what's the meaning of bath? Bath literally means to be scattered, like yabuthu is to scatter something. So bath in Arabic here means basically his thoughts are scattered, he's all shaken up. So when you are stressed, or your mind's all over the place, you know, when people are like hyper vigilant, they're all over the place and they can't gather their thoughts. So basically he knew the Prophet ﷺ was coming back now, his coming was imminent. And he's getting all, oh my goodness me, what's my situation? So he says, حَدَرَنِي بَثِي, I became all perplexed and completely fragmented my thoughts. فَتَفِقْتُ, and so I began to start أَتَذَكَّرُ الْكَذِبِ, to think about something that I could say. Basically, literally a lie here. But remember, in Arabic, a lie means not just a lie, it means مَا لَا يُطَابِقُ الْوَاقِعِ. It's not the reality, the outward reality. And so sometimes we can say, you know, these half-truths basically. So he's looking to say something that can cover him up basically. He's getting a bit desperate, the situation is getting a bit anxious, and he's thinking, what can I say in order to appease the Prophet ﷺ and he not be angry with me? That's his first concern. He doesn't want to anger the Prophet ﷺ. بِمَا أَخْرَجُ مِنْ سَخَطِهِ غَدًا, and he clarifies that there now. He says, how will I escape his anger tomorrow, when he comes? وَأَسْتَعِينُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ بِكُلِّ ذِي رَأْيٍ مِّنْ أَهْلِي. And what does he do? He seeks in order to solve that situation, he starts asking his family, what shall I do? So when you're in dire straits, you start asking all your relatives and family and friends and so forth, how am I going to get out of this situation? What's interesting here is that he brought lies to mind. Now, does this affect his uprightness, his righteousness? Because obviously, two conditions of the Sahaba, especially when this becomes a really sensitive topic regarding Hadith literature, because we do believe two things about the Sahaba generally, is that dabt is not a condition actually, to tell you the truth. Dabt is that they're very exact in their relations of the hadith. That's not necessarily a Sahabi could be forgetful, it's possible. But the one thing that there's no question about is their adala, and this is a really controversial topic. The Orientalists love this one, because we assume as Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah that all of the Sahaba are adul, basically, they're all upright. Allah chose them as the greatest of nations. He says, but this person was thinking about lying to the Prophet ﷺ. So does this affect his righteousness? So he says here, Ibn Allan in the commentary on it, he says, when it came to him that lie, well, first of all, we know he didn't act upon it, that's the first thing. So that disqualifies that argument straight away. But then it came to him, well, this is his human nature. When you're in dire straits, what's the first thing you think about? How do I get out of this? Sometimes it's not even, you do it impulsively, don't you? You don't even think about it. No, I didn't do that. And then oh, sorry, I did. You know, your body speaks before you do. And so, but the other thing they said is that maybe, this is him like basically trying to argue the point, is that he was thinking it was a lesser of the two evils. Because if he had the anger of the Prophet ﷺ on him, then you ain't in a good situation. So he was thinking, I've got to get out of the anger of the Prophet ﷺ.
What was the reason he was in this situation?
Oh, the reason that's last episode. Oh. He lagged behind at the Battle of Tabuk, and all the Muslims were called to attend. It was actually forbidden for anyone to lag behind, and he became lackadaisical. He was like, it was a hard, long journey facing the Roman army. He thought, I'm sure I can get reprieve. And so, but this wasn't the case. And so he says, and so I think that's enough. Is that basically, obviously, sometimes impulsively lie, and it just comes out, but then you correct it afterwards. You're not taking into account for that because you're no choice in the matter. So he's thinking about it, but then he realizes, and he says, بما أخرج من سفري غدا وأستعين بكم فلما فلما قيل إن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قد أظل قادما زاح عني الباطل. He says, then when the messenger, and this shows the presence and the power of the personality of the Prophet ﷺ, that when the messenger of Allah, so when the Prophet's not present, like someone says, if so-and-so was there, I'll tell him. And then when he comes, say, how you doing? Everyone's Mr. Macho but when the personality comes, then we see what you're made of. And so he says, Inna Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he doesn't even say he's come yet. He said, Qad adhalla qadiman. He says he's about to approach. He says all that batil, that falsehood basically of me trying to get out of the situation, it just went. He says, I'm not even going to bother trying that. And that's the strength of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's personality. And so he was on his verge of coming back. He says, Hatta araftu, then I knew, Anni lam anju minhu bi shay'in abadan. He says, I won't, it's no even point, it's a futile attempt. If I try to explain to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, give an excuse, he'll know. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will inform him. فَأَجْمَعْتُ صِدْقَهُ. And so I basically composed myself. I said, I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to be genuine with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَأَصْبَحَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ قَادِمًا. And then the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he came. وَكَانَ إِذَا قَدِمَ مِنْ سَفَرٍ بَدَأَ بِالْمَسْجِدِ. And if he ever came back from any journey, he would initiate his return by going to the masjid. This was a habit of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He would come and he would go, first of all enter the mosque. فَرَكَعَ فِيهِ رَكَعَتَيْنِ ثُمَّ جَلَسَ لِلنَّاسِ. And then he would perform 2 rak'ahs, and then he would sit for the people. Why this is now, it's interesting, I didn't really catch the drift of what Ibn Lan says. Is this specific to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this act? Or are we called to do this as well? Okay, there's a debate about it. Obviously, if you take that as a practicing of some of the Prophet, no problem whatsoever. So you come back from Blackburn after visiting the relatives in Birmingham or wherever they are, and then you decide to go to the mosque to pray. Then and you make that intention. But or it could have been specific to the Prophet ﷺ, because now he has to address the community, because there's a stage that he would pray 2 rak'ahs, and then like a leader, everyone greets him back and welcomes him back, and then he obviously informs them and addresses them things of importance.
Is the 2 rak'ah greeting of the mosque?
Yeah, well, there'll be 2 intentions here. There'll be greeting of the mosque, but there will also the 2 rak'ahs of safar that you come back. So you join your intentions. وَكَانَ إِذَا قَدِمَ مِنْ فَلَمَّا فَعْلَ ذَلِكَ. And so when that happened, جَاءَهُ الْمُخَلَّفُونَ. Then the ones who were kept back. It's really interesting the way this description of them, mukhallafun, those who were kept back from Tabuk. So it's as if basically they were deprived. So you'd think it would be mutakhallifun, isn't it? They purposely themselves lagged back. But what Allah describes them as is they were missed out on the opportunity when they thought they were basically getting out. In reality, they missed out. And we have to look. That's how we have to look at things sometimes when we're out of our own sins and so forth. This is why this has happened. Mukhallafun, and with the ones that missed out. يَعْتَذِرُونَ إِلَيْهِ. So everyone, all these people that lagged behind, obviously majority of them, over 80 he mentions here, were munafiqun. He said only 3 of them who had an excuse were actually righteous Sahaba. He says they came to give their excuses. وَيَحْلِفُونَ لَهُ, swear oaths basically, but we weren't able to come. وَكَانُوا بِضْعًا وَثَمَانِينَ رَجُلًا, and they were 80 or so men, i.e. between 83 and 89. فَقَبِلَ مِنْهُمْ عَلَانِيَتَهُمْ. Now this is really interesting here. He says, and he accepted from them what they said outwardly. So what they were saying, they were given their reasons, he accepted them. Now, why is he accepting them? Because وَبَايَعَهُمْ, and Allah knows best what he means by وَبَايَعَهُم, repledge the oath, of bay'ah. The Prophet ﷺ do this on regular occasions with people. It wasn't just a bay'ah of Islam once, he did it regularly with people to reaffirm their faith and so forth. So maybe that's what he means, Allah knows best. وَاسْتَغْفَرَ لَهُمْ, and he sought Allah to forgive them. He said, may Allah forgive them for any of their shortcomings. وَوَكَلَ سَرَائِرَهُمْ إِلَى اللَّهِ تَعَالَى. He says, and he left the real issue, the inner issue, the reality of the situation to Allah. So the Prophet ﷺ have it. There's a narration. There's this أُمِرْتُ أَنْ أَحْكُمْ بِالظَّوَاهِرِ وَاللَّهُ يَتَوَلَّى السَّرَائِرِ. I've been ordered to act by the outward purport of things, what I see, and Allah, I leave the rest to Allah. This isn't a hadith though. I thought it was a hadith. It's not a hadith. But we see just here that the meaning sound. Obviously, the meaning sound here is that we're not supposed. So when we judge, we have to be impartial. We have to deal with the evidences, and regardless of our feelings towards someone, or if we feel we have an intuition that we can't act upon that, even if we have the intuition. We have to judge it by the outward purport of things, the outward evidences, and in all our affairs. And so we have to be impartial and fair.
Do we have anything in the books about Prophet ﷺ's reaction to Gharb ibn Malik when he met him?
We've got it here.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to see that. Okay. So let's see if that answers, and then you can. He said, what's interesting here is obviously he forgave them. Okay. But he doesn't forgive Ka'b ibn Malik. Well, when we say he doesn't forgive, I mean obviously he takes him to task. But now this is interesting because obviously the Prophet ﷺ is in when he's in an advantageous position. Okay, so this is really important for people to understand. I think when it comes to forgiveness, issues of forgiveness, if you're in an advantageous position and there's not any harm of you. There's no need to take certain consequences. So I'll give you a situation, for example, some guy you meet, or some person you meet, once in a blue moon, and he says something, or probably, for the woman, she goes and sees her mother-in-law maybe once a month, okay, and the mother-in-law always, what does she do? She starts criticising. Okay, now if you're seeing them once a month, okay, they're not in your life all the time, just let it go. Okay? Because you know why? If you raise an issue, it's just going to make things what? Worse. You can't solve the issue. And so just let it go. And so if you're dealing with someone who's, and they're not nice, just smile. It's not an issue because I don't have interactions with them and they can't do anything to me, they're not affecting me. However, if they live amongst you, and they're manipulating you and they're causing issues, you've got to address the situation because it's going to affect you. You're going to get real resent and issues and so forth, and rights, you're going to boundaries and so forth. It's very important that people feel healthy and safe in their relationships with the people they're frequenting regularly. Because if they're not, it's going to really get you down. And so those things you've got to start asserting your consequence, asserting boundaries basically. Look, you can't speak to me like that and so forth. As long as you're speaking like that. But the Prophet saw some of the munafiqun, he knew there was no point in the munafiqun because he knew it would cause even more issues. If he started exerting pressure on them, it would cause even more issues, and they're not really able to do a great deal. The munafiqun in the community. They cause some issues, there's no doubt about that. But the Prophet he was looking long term, and he realised that if I do something, he was scared that it might end up in the Sahaba, passionate people. If the Prophet gives them the go ahead, they would do something. The Prophet says, no, I don't want to be told that I kill my people. And so it's very, very important for us to understand the situation. If I do react, is it going to bring about a result that's of benefit? If it's not, it's going to cause more problems. There's no point dealing with it. And then you have to look at asserting yourself in sorry, taking actions that are non-direct. If that makes sense in circumstances.
So can I just...
Yeah, go on.
How do you reconcile between asserting yourself with a difficult person and being patient, showing patience with that person?
Yeah, well, this is the issue. Like, if basically you're showing patience to that person and they're walking, because the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says the believer doesn't humiliate himself. So you don't. There's this fine balance between you being humiliated by someone taking advantage of you, and that's not sabr. And this is a big problem. We see that in our community. We see that as sabr, don't we? Especially when there's the family, extended family lives amongst one another. We say, you just do sabr. No, that's you being taken advantage of. And it's not. And here's another point. So I'm saying, you've got to ask yourself, is my patience going to lead to something beneficial? What's going to have a greater benefit? Me being patient in the circumstances, or me asserting myself? And in those situations, when you're being walked over, asserting yourself is going to have a much better situation. It might flare things up initially, but long term, they're going to think, oh, you know, those personalities are basically always poking, and they want to basically get the better of you. You know, you can't just keep being patient. You know, this guy that says, I just keep being patient, my wife keep lambasting me. You'll break at one point, and it's not a healthy relationship. Because especially if I'm talking marriages, it's not healthy for the children to be in that environment. And so you've got to do something. And so that's just a marriage situation, but it applies to other situations. You've got to do, like at work, if you've got a bullying boss, you can't just keep showing patience. That's ridiculous. But what do you do in a situation? You say, I need to make a step. So I'm going to consult people that I respect and opinion, go home, get some clarity, because I'm probably not thinking straight because I want to kill the guy. So I will sit, I'm going to speak, this is my situation at work, blah, 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 blah. You know, people that have been in similar situations and found a resolution. They're the best people because they found a solution to the problem. Okay, so not necessarily, you might think a guy's wise, but he's not been in the same situation as you. So you might not be able to find. So especially people like that. And generally the solution is, what step do I have to take to move towards a resolution? And I'm not going to think about the result. I'm just going to take next step. And what's the step? Reaction. Now back to consult. Next step. Reaction. Next, do I have to take another step? That's always one step at a time. Does that answer your question? But this is a very problematic issue because we believe as Muslims, qismi ma qismat, I just do sabr and all this sort of stuff. And you know what you're doing is, long term, I think it affects your mental health. Because it's not healthy to be prolonged in those circumstances. And so, فقبل منهم علانية وبيع فلما سلمت, but when I came along, حتى جئت, and then I came along. And so this is Ka'b ibn Malik before the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فلما سلمت تبسم, and when I said السلام عليكم, Messenger of Allah, you can imagine the situation. It's how awkward it gets. And he smiled. Tabassumun mughdab. Oh, you, basically. Now, the Prophet ﷺ, he's doing this psychological. It's a psychological tactic because you want to instill an element of shame in the person, and so because when you care about the person, you're a bit harder on them because you want. When you don't care about them, that's when you do sins and Allah doesn't do anything to you, there's no repercussion. That's when you get worried. Because you're thinking, I've just done something. If someone really loves you, they're harder on you to a certain extent when you do wrong. Because they want you to wake up they don't want you to prolong. They don't care about you. And this is what the Prophet said to the Munafiqun, no problem, forgiving you and so forth. When you've done a great wrong, that's a problem. You want to get your licks and get it over and done with because you know you deserve it, and it will take you to a higher station. فحتى جئت فلما سلمت اعتبست فصل المغضب ثم قال تعالى. He said, come here. So he came in, basically stood. Assalamu alaikum ya Rasulullah. And come here. In front of everybody, And so فجئت أمشي حتى جلست بين يديه, and then I came forward walking towards him until I sat right in front of him. فقال لي ما خلفك, what made you lag behind? Like, so ألم تكن قد ابتعت ظهرك, he says, did you not, you had your camel, you had the means basically, your back basically, he says, you had bought your back, meaning your camel, your ride. And he said, قال قلت يا رسول الله, he said, O Messenger of Allah, إني والله لو جلست عند غيرك من أهل الدنيا لرأيت أني سأخرج من سخطه بعذر. He said, O emissary of Allah, he said, most definitely by Allah, if I were to sit in front of anyone other than you, from amongst anyone from amongst this the world, I would have seen that I could have got out of his anger with an excuse. I could have used. So look at this. He's admitting. This is how to apologise. This is what we talk about, languages of apology. This is, your wife, you say, I got caught. If I was in front of anyone else, I could have. But I am. This is what is this though? This is expressing vulnerability, which I said men struggle with so much, because we're always trying to cover up our tracks because we fear failure. We fear it's that if we admit failure, we're going to be exploited and taken advantage of. But our beloved ones would never do that. That's the thing. So لقد أعطيت جدلا. He says, I've got the gift of the gab. He says, I could have got myself out of this situation. He says, ولكنني والله. He said, but by Allah, لقد علمت لئن حدثتك اليوم حديث كذب ترضى به عني ليوشكن الله يسخطك علي. He says, by Allah, I know most definitely that if I were to converse with you, to give you today some sort of lie, in order so you'll be pleased with me, very soon after, very soon after, Allah would bring would bring anger into you upon me. Okay, because he knows he has to take the consequences. You've got to bite the bullet, basically. You've got to take it. And that's what we've got to realise sometimes. It hurts initially, but it's better in the long term. And so if we try to just cover up short-term issues, long term it's a messy, messy affair. And we've got to just take a responsibility for our actions. And this is a major issue I was talking about. I've got to be careful of attention because we've got 10 minutes on this. But people using fiqh to cover up their wrong, legally justifying it, to avoid responsibility. So I'll give you an example of this. For example, a man came, someone told me about a situation, a man basically married from back home, got a lovely wife. It's so funny, he said, yeah, my wife, she's good looking, nice body. So I said, this guy's not, he just all about sex, this guy. All his needs. What happens? He gets himself a white girlfriend, gets her pregnant, and then he goes up to someone and says, I suppose I should marry her then, second wife. I was like, no. That's just covering your irresponsibility. And I bet you said you won't. I bet you weren't going to tell your first wife as well. Because don't have to. See, this is legal. This is what I call legalism, using the law to cover up your own. No, you have to go back to your first wife. You're going to tell her what you did. Oh no, but in Islam, we shouldn't talk about our sins. You're using another excuse to cover your responsibility. It's a game. You tell her, lousy little wretch, because this is exactly what this is. I could lie to you, just to take responsibility. And the biggest problem, especially, not picking on Asian lads, but they're not taught responsibility. And so they use, when they get older, they use this because they can't deal with the consequences. It scares the literal living daylights out of them. Responsibility in major parts of their life. So go, tell him, and she decide whether she wants to stay married to you. Not, shall I marry another one? No, she make the decision. Does she want to keep you, you little toe rag? And then we deal with the situation. And so this is the problem. The problem with these young scholars that aren't mature, they just instantly think solution, a legal solution to get him out of this. I'm not getting him out of this. You make him squirm, the guy, and then they say, oh, because it's an illegitimate child, I don't have to pay any upkeep for him. No. So you see what legally, this is the danger when Islam becomes all about the law. It becomes completely unethical. And that has massive ramifications for the next generation. They will see this religion as a joke. And I say, but you're going to have to pay for that kid. Because you need to take responsibility for some time in your life. And so these are issues that are really important that people understand, and we deal with issues with a level of maturity, not just law. So رأيت أني أخرج من سقط بعيد لقد علمت أن أحدث. So he said وإن حدثتك حديث صدق تجد علي فيه إني لأرجو فيه عقبا. And this is beautiful. He says, but if I narrate to you a relation of genuine truth, so I tell you the truth today, تجد علي فيه أني I hope that I might find from you, right? You might find in you that something whereby I hope in it that it will have a good end with Allah in it. So he's looking long term. So when you're in a situation, it's so natural for us to look at the short term solution, isn't it? Oh, how do I cover my tracks? But he's saying, no, I'm going to open up, be genuine, admit my mistake, because I know that in the long term, and that's always the best way to look at things long term. It's like in Morocco and Fez, the shop sellers that rip you off, isn't it? Long term, they're not doing themselves any favours. Because you're going to get caught out. Sorry, it's not just happening in Fez. I'm just subjected to this. I'm not going back to him. So long term, short profit, long term doesn't benefit you whatsoever. Okay? And so, in the Arju Aqab Dar Azza wa Jal, mighty and majestic, Wallahi ma kana li min udhri, he says, I've got no excuse. This is apologising. It's not sorry and then hoping you get off. Wallahi ma kuntu qattu aqwa, he says, by Allah, I wasn't stronger physically, wala aysara minni, and I wasn't more affluent, hina takhallaftu anka, when I stayed behind. Qala faqala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, look at this. Amma hada, as for this one, the naughty boy, basically, this, the way he's used it, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as for this one, faqad sadaq, he's told the truth. So he's exposed the other part, just like, because the reality, isn't it? Because he said, those bunch of liars, basically, now they've gone, you're telling the truth. فَقُمْ, he said, get up, حَتَّى يَقْضِيَ اللَّهُ فِيكَ, until Allah judges regarding you. So what's beautiful here, you think, I'll be honest, I'll get off. But no, sometimes an apology does not mean, apologies and consequences are two different matters. So if you say, but I asked for forgiveness, you've not forgiven me. No, I've forgiven you. Still going to have to taste it, because you've got to know what you've just done. If he lets him off here, and also obviously the Prophet ﷺ is not just dealing with Ka'b ibn Malik, he's dealing with the community. You need to know that this is a serious matter, because you disobeyed the Prophet ﷺ, and that compromises the religion in their context here. And so it's very, very important. Wasara, I think we'll stop here, inshallah. So that's the important here, is that we should understand is that apology does not mean someone shouldn't take the consequences. Like we did with Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. Allah forgave him, he taught him repentance, but he still says you're going down to the earth. Why? Because and then once the guidance comes, he says, then whoever follows it, okay, then and whoever follows it, there's no fear, there will no fear for him, and they will not grieve. So whoever, he says, he doesn't say you're going to do it, he says if. He says imma, the in here is 50-50. Okay, but we know whether Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam is going to be the case. And so sometimes you've got to let people, they've got to taste it. It's not in a malicious way. You're not doing this maliciously. You're doing this because people have to learn sometimes to appreciate what they've lost out on, and what they've done, and know what they've done is quite serious. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك أما نفس ما ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين. Thank you very much, guys. Assalamu alaikum. Your name is?